Greetings, everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity to talk to you about St. Joseph. If you recall, Bishop Deschatel ordered that this year be a year dedicated to St. Joseph, and providentially, it began right in the midst of these coronavirus isolating orders coming from the governor. I don't think it's by chance. We might say, or be tempted to say that the enemy has done this or it's undone the year of St. Joseph. No, I don't believe any of that. It's the providence of God that we have Joseph to look to at this very time. Consider the man Joseph. Sometimes he gets put down upon as if he's, because he's the littlest one in the Holy Family. But God is pleased to work through humility. And so it is laudable for us to observe Joseph being less than Mary in holiness and less than Jesus in holiness, because he has to humble himself and trust in a greater way to the providence of God. How wonderful is that? I'd like to take maybe the opportunity to begin sharing with you just how I look to St. Joseph. Now, I never in my life really had much devotion to St. Joseph, not until I think I started to have a devotion to St. Joseph when I was ordained a priest, partly because at the time we were beginning to work on construction or talk about constructing a new church at St. Pius, and so I asked for St. Joseph's intercession for that, but I also looked to Joseph as a model of the priesthood. Now, Joseph isn't literally a priest, or he's not a model to the priesthood in a direct way, but for me, he was a model for the priesthood because of this sense of being entrusted with this great treasure of Jesus, and yet being but a man. I felt it to be very analogous to my priesthood in that I'm entrusted with this great honor and power of the priesthood, and yet I have to hold this treasure in an earthen vessel, as St. Paul puts it. So I've always looked to St. Joseph in my poverty of like, how do I, little man that I am, work with this mighty power and wisdom of God? Joseph is a model for us in that. Even when we talk about the work of the enemy, Joseph is the terror of demons. Why? Because, again, of his great humility. It's not the power he possesses in himself, but he so does the will of God. We know Joseph to be a man of action. Right? When the angel speaks to Joseph, he doesn't say anything. Actually, he just gets up and he goes and he does it. That is Joseph. So for us who are in this, actually, also we can look to St. Joseph in this time of isolation. Why? Well, Joseph was isolated. How much time did the Holy Family spend in solitude? But Joseph used it as a time to work, right? He worked quietly in his shop and he taught Joseph. He worked quietly and endured the silence of the Holy Family. A lot of men today, right? And I include myself in this at times. We don't like silence. That's women's thing, right? Women do silent retreat, and men, we gotta, go play football or something. And that's fine. We should do things with our hands. That is part of our dignity. But this silence in prayer is right for us. But Joseph is a model of what it means to be a man of action, to be a man of prayer, to be a man of solitude, to be a father, a guardian. As some of you remember from Father Champine's parish mission that we were so blessed to have, right? That was right before all the masses and public gatherings were closed off. That is a grace of St. Joseph that he gave to our parish, and you should thank him for that. But another reason you and I should look to St. Joseph in this time is because he's a great model of purity. Also, when I became a priest, I became aware of the cord of St. Joseph that many people wear. It's a white cord you tie around your waist. There's a prayer that goes with it. And it's a way to connect with St. Joseph as for his purity. Remember, Joseph was married to Mary, but it was a virgin marriage, right? they never consummated the marriage, and he had to live in perpetual chastity. Now, again, I think when people talk about this, they're oftentimes putting a little too much on Joseph, as if he was lusting after Mary. I think that's silly. Joseph did not lust after Mary. And yet, it still was a trial because he loved Mary very much. And they shared a union of body and soul. Body in the sense of in a human way, and soul in the sense of a spiritual way. The bodily union was not a physical intimacy in the sense of consummating marriage, but a unity that, well, for example, you see in old married couples who don't consummate their marriage anymore, but they still have a unity in their speech and in their physical proximity. That is a great sacrifice for Joseph. It wasn't easy, and it required God's grace. But Joseph, man of God that he is, he did so. And in doing so, he's a model for us. And in being a model for us, he's also a fitting intercessor. So with that, I think I'll conclude my remarks for today. I thought I was kind of rushing to get this done today because I thought that today was beginning 30 days before the feast of St. Joseph, but I believe that's May 1st. So we might have a few more days to prepare for that. So for now, I just offer this introduction to St. Joseph and invite you to invoke his name and his intercession as we live in this year of St. Joseph and we live together in this time of isolation. My brothers and sisters, may God bless and keep you, and may you find constant help in the intercession of St. Joseph. Hello, future Father Campo here. I did check after I finished the earlier video, and today, March 30th, is the first day of preparations for consecration of St. Joseph on the next feast day, which is on May 1st, the feast day of St. Joseph the Worker. So I'd like to invite all of you to make that consecration or begin the preparation today. In a special way, I'd like to make a call to all the men to do so. In order to help you with that, I will make some other videos in the future, but I will put in the description in the YouTube video some information to begin with, particularly just some prayers maybe we can say every day. So I hope you will join me and at least join for the journey too. God bless.